Will a French super thief be the next hurdle that a young Bruce Wayne must overcome on his journey to becoming Batman? Well, let's hop into the pages of Batman the Knight issue number 2 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, young Bruce Wayne is only a few weeks into his European excursion trying to train with the greatest masters the world has to offer, and he's already hit something of a brick wall. In only a couple weeks' time, he's already become better at fencing than the so-called greatest fencing master in the world. It's here that Bruce comes to the sad realization that people who advertise themselves as the best in the world at something are usually lying. We also discovered that Bruce went on this little journey of self-discovery without telling Alfred, and I mean, can you blame him? The butler would no doubt chase after him, figuring that he's only gonna get himself killed. If nothing else, Bruce is starting to become a nocturnal creature. He loves the night in Paris, and why shouldn't he? There's something freeing about it, something pure and romantic. It's while roof running one night, he ends up coming upon an apartment that is being robbed by an older, elegant lady thief. Bruce, still being young, dumb, and full of capriciousness, decides that he's going to get involved and make a citizen's arrest of this lady, and it all ends up going pretty bad for him. This super thief, as we soon discover, is called the Grey Shadow, something of a celebrity in France who made the papers all the time before eventually dropping off the face of the earth, not because she slowed down, but because she got better at not getting caught. The Grey Shadow is easily able to bowl over Bruce. Again, he's a boy playing at a very adult's game right now, and Shadow is more trained, more focused, and not afraid to incorporate as many dirty tricks as it takes to escape. Here's the thing though, the next day when Bruce is licking his wounds at a local cafe, Grey Shadow finds him again outside the costume. This lady's name is Lucy, and turns out she is positively fascinated by this strange, fearless American who is willing to risk his life just to try and stop some diamonds from getting stolen. Why, after a conversation, Lucy even agrees to take Bruce under her wing and show him everything that comes with being a renowned super thief. And you know what, I gotta say, I absolutely love this turn of events here, that Batman's first mentor is actually not only a criminal, but a woman criminal, no less. It feels like way too often when we see stories about Batman's origins and the people who trained him, it's always stories about Batman trying to fill that fatherly void in his life. Here he's filling the motherly void in his life. Also, hey, the Grey Shadow feels very close to the Grey Ghost, the not quite Zorro stand-in that sometimes also inspires Bruce to do what he does. Now, you might also be asking yourself, if this lady is helping Bruce as a teacher, what about Ducard? Isn't he the guy who normally becomes Batman's French mentor? Well, here's the thing, he's in the story too. You see, renowned private detective Ducard has been called in by the French police to help them solve a string of grisly murders committed by some serial killer calling themselves the Foundling. This guy slays entire families but leaves one child alive. Isn't that interesting and thematically resonant with a character like Bruce Wayne? It seems the Foundling has been killing a lot of French people, but his most recent murder was of an American family, which, if not treated properly, could lead to some manner of international incident. Now back over with Bruce and Lucy, the Grey Shadow takes him out at night for his first training session. Lesson number 1, stealth, which Bruce is not good at. The key to being the perfect thief and never being seen is to be able to move quietly in any surrounding, in any situation. Bruce is understandably torn right now over whether or not this is the morally correct thing to do. He wanted to save people, he wanted to stop victimizers, he wanted to make a difference, and now he's understudy to a thief. Though perhaps this is always how it was meant to be. Bruce wants to stop crime and criminality, and to do that he's going to have to learn how criminals think and how crime works. Furthermore, what is a vigilante if not a criminal in its own right? So really, it's only good that Bruce get over these moral stumbling blocks here and now while he's still young. It's also not like Lucy is some sort of monster. She subscribes to a very Robin Hood-esque ideal of only stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, after taking a nice little percentage off the top, of course, because hey, nobody's a saint. Under the Grey Shadow's tutelage, Bruce actually comes along quite a lot in a short amount of time. He learns breaking and entering, he learns safe cracking, exfiltration, all important skills that will serve him well when he eventually becomes Batman. He and Lucy also end up growing very close too, moving into the same place. He even starts cooking for her. Geez, Bruce, morally ambiguous, beautiful, elegant thieves, you had a type even back then, didn't you? With his training complete, Lucy thinks it's finally time to go on his final assignment, a real deal heist. Tonight they're going to be knocking over the head of a very large and very polluting oil company. At first, everything goes off perfectly without a hitch, but by the time our two anti-heroes manage to grab the box with all the jewels in it, the police are already on them as if they were tipped off. Or, quite possibly, were there for another reason completely. The Gray Shadow and Bruce run, only for Bruce to end up catching a bullet in the leg. Perhaps some of Bruce's altruism rubbed off on the Gray Shadow, though, as Lucy actually comes back and carries him to safety. Once back at the hideout, Lucy goes about offering Bruce his first drink while she removes the bullet fragments and stitches him up. Wow, a night full of firsts. His first drink, his first shooting, his first heist, and his first awkward kiss with an older woman. Oh me, oh my, something had to cut all that sexual tension now, didn't it? Lucy is flattered, but ultimately turns down Bruce's advances, saying that he's a bright young boy, but still much too young for her. If only she could steal some years along with all that jewelry. So yeah, all in all, a rough night for young Bruce, but he did manage to learn some very important stuff, not only about himself, but about crime itself. As a rich boy with more money than he ever knew what to do with, he never understood what drove and pushed people to steal it the way that they did, but now Bruce has a better understanding and figures that when he does become what he ultimately aims to become, he won't be wasting his nights going after jewelry thieves, especially the ones who only go after dirtbags with more than enough insurance to cover what they lost. Here's the thing though, Bruce starts playing with the diamond box and ends up finding a secret hollowed out compartment inside of it filled with teeth like the kind that a serial killer would steal as a trophy. And before all that information can truly sink in, Bruce realizes that Lucy has been taken hostage by Henry Ducard. At best, it looks like they're going to jail. At worst, it looks like they're both going to be shot as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Batman The Night, issue number 2, everybody, and I'm really happy to report that Chip Zdarsky really came to play, and that first grade issue was not a fluke. It's like Zdarsky looked at every other Batman origin story we've ever seen and asked himself, how can I do this differently? What haven't we seen before? How can I remix and remaster a story that's older than dirt at this point? I also really respect this book for embracing the grittier, grimier, but also sexier and sultrier sides of film noir, which Batman has a lot of DNA in. I love the Gray Shadow as a brand new mentor figure in Batman's mythos. I hope she sticks around, and I also love that Henry Ducard gets to take part in the story too. It's the definition of having your cake and eating it too. I would give this one a very decidedly positive 9 out of 10, and I cannot wait for the next issue. This is quickly becoming one of my most anticipated books of the year. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.